The comic book industry's been in a disastrous state over the past few years. The content that companies like Marvel and DC are having published is complete and utter garbage. Look at Safe Space and Snowflake. Marvel thought that's what people wanted to read. A teenager with toxic internet gas, Fat Dora the Explorer with a magical backpack, and the non-binary super twins. These companies are letting writers do whatever they want, even if the stories are terrible, as long as it pushes the political agendas they want to feature. But of course, Marvel's announced another new progressive series that they are being raked across the coals over, to no one's surprise. But before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month or a supporter via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So I wanted to start off with the Screen Rant article, and then I've got some tweets that I want to show off, but it says the new extremist X-Men Green team members and powers explained. Now, many years ago, I would have went, this is a complete joke. There's no way that a company would put out content like this, thinking that this is what people want to read, but I'm not surprised anymore. I expect this type of garbage content from companies now. So the intense finale to the X-Men Green event has finally arrived in Marvel Comics, bringing with it the formal creation of a new unsanctioned X-Men team consisting of Nature Girl and Curse with Cypher. Now, don't forget, guys, Victoria Alonso, the VP of Marvel, wants the name X-Men changed because it's not inclusive enough, but this is what they've decided to start writing stories about. It says, finally having had enough of the environmental destruction wreaked by the human race, Nature Girl has launched her quest to fight back by brutally murdering a number of humans. It says not only has Nature Girl killed humans, a lot of them, may I add, but the young mutant Curse has as well, meaning both have broken the second law of Krakoa, kill no man. After being captured by Wolverine, the budding X-Men Green was sentenced to the pit for their crimes against the nation, with almost all members of the Quiet Council voting to imprison both Nature Girl and Curse, regardless of their young age. But not every member, as it turns out, which leads to their unexpected release and debut as a new outlaw team. So yes, as I've read here, they are fighting the human race because they're mad that the humans have caused environmental destruction to Earth. They're mad that humans are killing the animals and polluting the Earth, and they go around murdering humans, hoping to make a difference because, oh, humans are just so reckless. I want to show off this tweet by Data Racer. It says, Marvel Comics' new X-Men Green team is about a group of eco-terrorist mutants that fight climate change and late-stage capitalism. They complain about the climate crisis and murder humans they think are polluting the environment. Total SJW cringe. Now, I personally, if I ever saw this on a store shelf, I would literally turn the other way. This sounds like complete and utter garbage. Now, when I read comics, I want to read about cool superheroes and supervillains. I want to read about, you know, the Thors and the Captain Americas and the Iron Men. I want to read about the real X-Men. I don't want to read about people saying, oh, humans have screwed up the Earth, so we might as well start killing them. That, to me, isn't appealing at all whatsoever. So as it says, they fight climate change, late-stage capitalism, and complain about the climate crisis, and these characters are truly some of the worst anti-heroes I've read about. Yes, saving the world is good. Protecting, you know, the turtles and the whales in the oceans is good, but they're literally going around murdering people, which is evil, even though these writers are clearly trying to get people to like these characters. They're clearly trying to set these characters up as characters that people are going to root for and go, oh yeah, you know, they're doing a lot around the Earth. They're, you know, fighting capitalism and fighting climate change and actually making people aware of the climate crisis clearly. We see what these writers are doing here. I wanted to show you guys a couple of the images here because when I saw them, I couldn't help but laugh. Because as someone who's worked at a comic book store, who's sold comics, who has a lot of comics myself, this just isn't appealing content at all. I'm someone who will give, new series chances. I will buy series even though I'm skeptical of their future, but this is something that I would not touch with a 10-foot pole. So at the top left, there is unfortunately a dead turtle. Very sad, very heartbreaking. But of course, it is choking on some sort of plastic bag, and on the right, they've got the plastic bag that says Owen's Grocery. So, the character says, "My heart can't take it. I've lost count of how many creatures have died on these shores, poisoned by the humans." And she literally goes in the store and stabs one of the store clerks with scissors. She's literally just running around murdering people because she found one of the store's bags in the turtle's mouth. I mean, yikes. The next one says, "I'm sick of running from the climate emergency." How lame is this? It says somewhere in the Dakotas, God's country, Nature Girl can feel the truth in the air. Going to the next set of images, it says, "We respectfully ask you to stop. No pipeline," and then it's peace signs. And then you've got, again, people killing each other. Late stage capitalism was actually multiple system failures. Corruption was all but legalized. Journalism was dismantled and diminished. Environmental protections were rolled back, and nobody could man it. I mean, in my opinion, I've read a lot of pretty terrible comic series, and they never released the new Warriors with Safe Space and Snowflake because I'm sure that would be #1. But this is truly one of the top 3 most boring, basic, lamest storylines I've probably ever seen in Marvel, or from Marvel, I should say. This isn't amusing. This isn't, exciting. This isn't something that I'd want to actually spend time to read and to dedicate towards. Now, clearly they're trying to write Punisher-type characters where they're violent vigilantes, but people don't like the Punisher because he murders people. They like him because he's actually making a difference by fighting against and destroying real evil. These writers don't care about comic books. They care about their own narratives and pushing them in the faces of consumers, and it doesn't make people change their opinions on issues. It makes people sick and tired of being preached to, and it forces consumers to stop buying terrible products. This isn't going to sell comic books. I would not read this and go, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get to my local comic store to pick up this series." This isn't amusing at all whatsoever. And of course, it's no surprise to see manga dominating the October sales charts for graphic novels, because when Marvel's putting out garbage like X-Men Green, there's nothing that people get excited for. I know I personally would much rather read manga than mainstream comics at this point because the content's got night and day differences. One has amazing artwork, good storytelling, massive varieties, and the other has sometimes mediocre artwork, storytelling where the writers are just putting their political opinions on paper, and a very small amount of variety. If we look at the October 3rd to October 30th sales charts, they are nowhere to be found on this list. Image Comics, DC, Boom, Image, Viz. I mean, there's no Marvel anywhere to be found on this list, and it's no surprise why. Yes, sometimes they'll put out series that people like, sometimes they'll release continuations of series that people will buy, and it's not like they don't top these charts anymore, but month after month, they might get 1 spot if they're lucky. They might get 2 if they're extremely lucky, but we haven't seen them dominating in a very long time. I used to love Marvel and DC Comics. I would buy so many of the projects that they'd put out, whether it's new series or continuations of series. I would give things a shot, but content like this is the reason why I don't collect comics anymore, why I don't buy any new content, because this is the best that they can come up with. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.